This is this is the order of how they're talking tomorrow at media day. So this isn't us being Georgia homers in a way, but they just happen to be first up tomorrow, at least in the order of the.
Man, you ain't got to answer to people like that. Just say it. Georgia's first. They're up. Just talk about the team, man. Don't be doing all that crap. Don't nobody care about that stuff.
So obviously last year, 11-3, they won the SEC. They are the defending SEC champion, and their current quarterback this year came into that game in the second half, and then they lost to Notre Dame in the college football playoff. So first and foremost, it is just that. We've talked about him a little bit, but Gunnar Stockton that's a big question number one. It is, what is he? We've seen basically a game and a half and a few other snaps. What is he going to be? What do you think he is? Can he lead this team to sort of back to where they were a season ago, which is in the SEC championship game?
Here's what I'm going to say. Gunnar Stockton cannot lead this team back to where they were a year ago if it's the same team. If they can't run the football, it's not going to happen. They've brought in a bunch of receivers. That's the worst rushing season Georgia's had in 20 years. 20 seasons. If Gunnar Stockton is a guy that can play action pass and use that part of his game, and they do what Georgia's done with Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck and all these guys, he absolutely can be successful. If you're going to drop back and throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, Brent, and not have a run game, I don't think they're going to be back where they were. This is a team that's breaking in a bunch of new components. The interior of that offensive line, guard, center, guard, they all got drafted. They're all gone. So that's going to be a big part of it. So that's my take on that. I think Gunnar's a really good player. I think he's got a really, really good arm. I would love to see him continue to grow and get better at the intermediate. I'd love to see him learn how to change pace with the football, Brent. He's got a big windup, and it's a big windup, it's coming, right? It's coming out. And I'd like to see some of these things that I've only saw a small sample size, but I'm 100% sure if you're not going to give him a running game, it's going to be a tough season for the Georgia offense.
And when you think back to last season, one of the things that I think both of us have said this offseason is the likelihood that Georgia there's a strong likelihood, and basically it is. They're not as talented at quarterback. But can they get better quarterback play? Because there was a time when Carson Beck was in a whole other world, and the decision-making was in a whole negative way world, in spite of all the positives that he brought. So I think the running game was the sort of second piece to that. But more importantly,
but it's not, because it's the first piece. Because without it, there is no great offense. Carson Beck put this team on his back at times last year when he needed to. The defense bailed him out some as well. But I don't think that's a formula that Georgia can live and die by. That's why I think Kirby did one of his best jobs a year ago. That team, yeah. It was weird week to week, and finding an identity, and even defensively, was not as consistent as you've seen. But man, were they good in close games, and when they really needed to come through with making plays, they found a way to do it. You don't usually do that year after year. Those things usually will regress to the means, right, and come back down to earth. But I thought he did a great job, and so that's the ancillary part. And then go to the defense, Brent.
That was question number 2. That's
3 first rounders
gone. And when you look at just sheer numbers in terms of yards, points per game, just traditional statistics with their defense, it was the worst of the Kirby era. And the biggest thing for me is looking through, and this is something I've been doing over the past week or so, is looking back through first down for them. And let me just read you some of these numbers here real quick. When you look at first down, quarterbacks 28 of 34 for 4 in the 3 losses for them. So Notre Dame, Alabama, and then Ole Miss. 28 of 34 for 488 yards and a touchdown on first down. The amount of success they gave up on first down is just, to me, was unlike anything you've seen from the Georgia defense. And that's where, to me, it's the interior, specifically the interior of the defensive line, but the defensive line in general. Can they win on first and second down, especially when teams try to throw on them? Because that's not something they did really at all outside of the 2 Texas games.
Yeah, and then because then you get in the world of if I stay in base and I can't rush the passer, well, then if I'm playing against that team, first down passing becomes critical, right? Like, now listen, there's a lot of guys that can sub in now on third down and pass rush situations. And last year, Georgia was subbing a ton of guys. Like, they were bringing in a new hockey team, like, to rush the passer. Okay, so I take advantage of that on first down. But you're right, 3 first-rounders that were gone. Linebacker core, though, going to be elite. I mean, C.J. Allen is a stud. Like, he can run, he can diagnose, he's smart. Bolden last year showed that and this is, you can't say this out loud. Like, you're not supposed to say these things. He's another Malachi Starks. He is. He's a plug-and-play as a freshman that I feel like in 2 years, after he starts for another 2 years, is going to go be a first-round pick. Like, elite covering. And the thing I like the most about him is that is not a big dude, Brent, but he ain't scared to stick his face in the fan and come downhill and stripe you. Give me all those guys, man. Like, I love having those guys, and he is definitely one of those people that I think can be elite of elite, and we're talking about being a first-round pick. I'm going to give you a freshman, Elijah Griffin. I talked about him on here a couple weeks ago, like, meeting him, talking to him, felt like a child shaking his hand, like, enormous, 6'5", 300-plus pound kid that's a 18-year-old freshman that continues to hit over 20 miles an hour every week on the GPS. Like, continues to hit over 20 miles an hour. So,
okay.
Like, get you some of that, brother. That's not real fun to have chasing you. And I think he's a guy that can come in and play a bunch of snaps and be really good. He's not going to go kill it. Jalen Carter type good. Like, Jalen Carter, when you saw him as a freshman, like, he was not refined. He wasn't Jalen Carter as a junior. But that dude is a guy that you could play and you go, I'm not going to have a big drop-off, and when he learns to use these puppies in his hands and it all starts to work, you better watch the freak out. And I think that's an Elijah Griffin role. There's obviously, other guys on this defense. The secondary is pretty solid. The linebacking core is pretty solid. The D-line, Christian Miller, those guys will come along. A lot of talent, but a lot of inexperience and more question marks, Brent, than I think we're used to seeing. That's the weird thing probably at looking at Georgia more than anything.
Yeah, more unknowns. So, given to that, speaking of that inexperienced part, to me, there is one game that is, if I had to circle one game that impacts their season more so than any, it's the third game at Tennessee, because that's Gunner's first road start. Obviously, hey, he's starting the SEC, or he played in the SEC championship game, played in the playoff, so shouldn't be as sort of starstruck in a way. But first start on the road. Afternoon game at Tennessee, you drop that, your season, the outlook of your season changes drastically, I think, even though they've kind of owned Tennessee recently.
Well, and they have had a lot of success at Tennessee, but that crowd is ridiculous. I mean, it's one of the best in the country, one of the best atmospheres. Like, it's insane. So it will be difficult, and you will have to grow up with certain pieces. Out of all the things, Brent, I'm worried about with this team and with this offense and with Gunner, it's not his mentality. It's not going on the road. It's not like that dude. If you meet Gunner Stockton, and I'm just telling you, I spent some time with the kid, like, just extremely, he is a flatliner. He's like a yes, sir, no, sir, aw shucks, like gee whiz. Like, he's just a country boy that drives like a 1980-something Chevrolet Blazer. Like, he's just very quiet, very unassuming. But what I love is what the guys talk about when he jumps in the huddle. It's like, listen, get your blanket and stuff in here and get ready. Like, and I like that. Like, he's mild-mannered, he's very calm, but he's uber competitive. And so I trust his mindset on that. Doesn't mean he's going to be elite. I'm just saying, like, I think he's the type that can go into other atmospheres and be okay. But again, do you run the football? And does Georgia get back to being a little bit tougher? Because last year, I thought they lacked a little toughness, which is not a thing that you like to say about somebody. Yeah,
no, I think that's why you've heard Kirby say the fire, passion, and energy phrase ad nauseum throughout the offseason. All right, projection. What they were 10-2 a season ago. Do you think it's same, better, worse?
I think here's the problem. First of all, here's the good news. The good news is you play Alabama and Texas at home. Like, that is the best two teams on your schedule. You got them at home. Brett, they're going to get one of those. Like, they're going to get one of those teams. I think they'll lose to one. I think the home streak will go away. Like I think that because it's at the highest in the nation right now. It's over 30, right? Like it's pretty high. It's been pretty good. Here's where I see a potential problem. You got Georgia, or you got Tennessee at Auburn. Like both of those teams, really good teams, really good atmospheres. I don't think you get out of there with both of those. I think one of those are going to be really, really tough to get. I just think with this squad, with the newness, and then you still got to play Ole Miss at home. You still got to play at the cocktail party. Still got to play Georgia Tech at the end of the season.
Heck.
I think it's 9-3. Like I think they take a little bit of a step back. I think there's too many unknowns to say I'm going to guarantee 10-2. But I've done it for years, and we've always said we're not worried. We're not worried. But I don't know, like the lack of run game from last year worried me, and you're bringing in guys now that aren't as good. And so I worry about the offense and defensive lines, which is weird and just strange to say for Georgia football.